And there it is, 2-0 Leicester City. What is going on, ladies? But welcome back to Beyond the 90. We've got, again, another match, another win. Absolutely smashed it in terms of this one. Get your thoughts in below. Well, how do you think the team set up? How do you think that we played today? Just got a couple of comments in. We've got Luke back on here. Luke, straight back up. McAtee got a boot. Mate, if you want the link, just let me know. I'll be able to send it to you. Be more than happy to have you on again. Sorry, I've not been able to get in contact with you. But yeah, great result. And then Anil's here as well. I know if you want to join, just let me know as well. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'll try and bring some of your comments back into this stream as well. But overall, I mean, we've been great. Got Jeff in. Jeff, how you doing, mate? How you feeling?
Yo, how's it going, man? I'm doing good.
How do you think the game went today?
I want to say it was. Get an echo?
Yeah, a little bit.
What's up?
Coming from.
Okay. I'll mute you for a second, Jeff, then I'll come back to you. But yeah, I know again, how do you think the game went today?
Oh, I can't steal Jeff's thunder. You got to let the main man give his word before I come in. Come on, let's get Jeff's thing.
Honestly, it was. So I'm gonna get out and I'll come back in.
Cool. Okay, no worries. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Is it your end, Anil? I can hear it twice.
Give me a sec. It might be 1 second. 1 sec. I'll come out and come back in as well, right? Yeah.
One advantage of going live, people are coming on as well. But yeah, we'll get your thoughts in below. Gray's in the chat again. Appreciate you, Gray. Always turn up. Always appreciate your comments as well. Straight back up. Yep. And you could hear it a lot towards the end. You know, in the process where people say, "Oh, we're only 10% in," I'd love to ask Enzo and say, "How far are we into the process as well?" But it could be only a short way away, and the way that we're playing football, the 1-2 passes, the constant that we went through, it's just been great. I mean, in terms of what we did a little bit more in the game, we played 5 different substitutions. Well, we made 5 substitutions. I can still hear it, Anil, but 5 substitutions in the game. So he's gone. Try and do it on the fly. I'm losing on my notes, trying to do multiple things at once. This is pretty much it. We are different gravy. I'm definitely going to say that as well. We did ride our luck, I think, at times. Hermansen, I think, had a fantastic game. It's the best striker performance that I've seen in the Leicester City shirt, but it was fantastic. But we did what we need to do. We were clinical. We kept a clean sheet. There's some players I specifically want to mention that we didn't mention in the last one, but I want to mention as well. But they'll speak to a Norwich fan as well. And the fact that you've got KDH on the bench and he came off. Oh my God. There's some really good stuff that we're playing at the moment because, oh my God, it was fantastic football. And overall the pitch, I think it's a good point by Joe about, again, as a fair result to Leicester. Again, it deserves it from a Norwich fan. We did have, again, a good style of play and things as well. I think we did play some great football in terms of that. Try and bring everybody back in for this one. I think that's sorted now. Again, Jeff, what are your thoughts on the game?
And I said the first ending of the first half was great. Second half was scary. Numerous opportunities for Norwich, and we were just playing in the back. And you did see that poor pass from Emerson, and then you have a shot taken by Norwich, hits the top right post. I thought it went in, but no. But later on, we found our ground, and you see that goal from Casey McAteer.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of that, the McAteer goal, we'll get onto in a little bit of a second. But were you surprised the way that Enzo set up? Because bearing in mind, we were thinking, what is the team going to be like? Because they only played on Friday as well. You had the likes of you've got the likes of the double pivot in the middle. Ndidi and KDH came out, and we had Casadei and Yunus Akgün in the midfield. What did you make to the both of them?
Well, I know eventually it was going to happen. Casadei going to have a start, but I didn't think for this match. I thought, it was much too close compared to Southampton, and I think that system worked. So I thought he would go with that same starting, at least the attacking side. But you clearly see that Ndidi has been such a valuable player, and Casadei necessarily didn't have a good match, I think.
No, I'm with you. And I think the lads coming on, this was his first chance, so we're all crying out from the start. I wouldn't say he was bad, but he just wasn't good.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And it's going to take time for them to adapt to that system from the start. Usually they would come on like the last 20 minutes of a match when everyone else is tired. Obviously, they have fresh. Like you said, an okay start, but as of right now, I think I'd go with Ndidi and obviously KDH.
Yeah, I think that is the starting going forward, but it shows you the strength and depth in terms of the squad. I mean, I don't think this is Eunice's exact position, but again, he's playing some great football in terms of that. Try and bring Anil back in. Think we're all good. Think we're all good now. But yeah, just mentioning the 2 8s as well in terms of that. But also another 2 players that I think you were mentioning that came into the games. Who impressed you, Anil? Because I know you were mentioning, was it Chowdhury and I think somebody else as well.
A lot of players impressed me. I think it was a very interesting game. One from a tactical point of view, also how the 2 halves played out. Right, so someone literally put on the forum like, how many people had Hamza down as captain starting that match? Right, like what a surprise that was. But lots of changes. Right, I don't know if you've spoken about them already, but I think what they decided to do, or what Maresca decided to do, compared to the game against Southampton, is that Norwich are quite a physical team, right? You got Ashley Barnes, who's like a bruiser. He's shithoused it for years for Burnley in the Premier League. Not even in a bad way, just that he uses his strength, right? Shane Duffy, big lad, right? Ben Gibson, been in the Premier League, also quite solid. So I was not that surprised that he put in a bit of muscle, right? So he's taken out Ricardo, who didn't have the best game against Southampton. Definitely not a bad game, but probably of the players, given most people probably played 8, 9s out of 10s, he maybe had the 6, the only one. So puts in Hamza. Hamza was superb, right? Really physical. He was put up against Jonathan Rowe. I don't know how much you've been following the championship this season, but Jonathan Rowe, I think, he scored in like 5 games in a row, 4 league games, 1 cup game. He had like a few shots in the first half, but I think Hamza pocketed him pretty good. So that was really good, I think, in terms of that sense. Yeah, you talking about the 2-8s. That was really interesting, right? So firstly, the guts to change both of them, right? I think fair enough. Like, you want to rotate the players, and those are 2 of the most important players in the team, so you want to keep them fresh. But the other thing that I really felt was surprising is they put them in the wrong positions, if that makes sense, right? So Eunice is a left-footed player. When he came on and against Southampton, he played where KDH would play. But today he played where Wilfred would play. And Cassidy, he would normally play where Wilfred would play, but he was playing where KDH was playing. And I believe the reason why they were doing this is that Norwich have quite slow centre-backs, right? They are effective and physical, but you can kind of catch them out with pace. So we've put in Nacho in a team as the false 9, draw those centre-backs onto him, and then those 8s can run past him. Now, we do this a lot in games, right, to make chances, but because you've got those 8s now on the other side, they're going to curve their runs in, and when they curve their runs in, they can cut back onto their stronger foot and have a shot. I believe that is like the strategy that we might have gone for. We saw it maybe once or twice, but the move kind of broke down. I thought like Cassidy was a bit disappointing in my opinion. I'm definitely not going to have a go at a youngster who's trying to get into a team. I just felt that like not only did this sort of attack break down with him a few times, but he made a few fouls. Eunice, I personally thought in the first half at least was quite impressive. I'm not surprised he got taken off in the second half, but first half I was impressed. I felt he had like a really good first touch. I remember early on he kind of like did a jink and then all of a sudden opened up the game. He found the next ball. That was good. He kept the move going. And we were jokingly sort of saying, have we found the Turkish championship version of Bernardo Silva? If we have, you heard it here first. I'm copying and quoting that thing. So that was pretty decent. So that was kind of the first half. And we can talk about that in a bit more. But I think in general, I felt we played quite well in the first half, but felt maybe 10% worse than against Southampton. But I did feel like the goal was coming. And I was literally going to text you that. But then Iheanacho had to score. So I was like, okay, well, that's just ruined my statement now to be patient because it already won up. Second half, we'll go into much more detail, but my quick kind of takeaway is there was something that was interesting, right? So I think about 65 minutes in, David Wagner changed it to more of a out 4-4-2 for them, right? And that had a big effect on the game. Like it made it way more end-to-end, and I felt we lost control. I think first half we were in quite good control. We didn't really give away too many chances. Second half, I think we made a lot of chances, but we also started conceding a lot of chances. And honestly, at times it felt a bit like Power League. Now, because we're the top quality team in the division, that's always going to favor us, I feel, right? If you're going to keep letting chances go through. And like, I think they might feel a bit aggrieved that they didn't score. But then I would say if Vardy hadn't had a brain fart, he would have scored. Casey McAteer had the header, he could have scored. We could have scored like a few more goals. So what I thought was interesting, what Jeff was just saying there, again, I don't want to steal your thunder. And I noticed immediately when he did that, like Ndidi started pressing really high up on the keeper. And I thought, here we go. It's game over now. We're going to take back control. We've got our best players on. They're going to press the game and it is game over. You're done, Norwich. All your good players are booked, etc., etc. But that 4-4-2 change kind of didn't make that play out at all. Like we definitely made chances, but that kind of kept it going quite fresh. And yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting tactic. So yeah, we can talk about way more detail. I never give you a quick answer, do I, Neil? You should have the stopwatch ready whenever I talk. But yeah, a lot more to talk about. But there you go.
No, I thought the bit you mentioned about Casadei and Yunus was really interesting as well. The fact that they played on the outside, I thought was interesting. And just coming into it, I'll get the formation up kind of again. It's not the exact formation, but the one that Leicester City put up. And Jeff, I just want to pass it over to you again. Obviously, with the starting formation, we mentioned the two high eights as well. McAteer, Mavididi starting. Chowdhury mentioned. I think the one that surprised me as well, which I'm kind of half surprised, half not. Vestergaard and Fast come back into the team. I think JJ had a good game in the previous one, but Vestergaard, considering that a lot of people going, Connor Cody's probably going to come back into this. He deserved his start, and also he has every right to keep his place because man, I think he had as good a game today as he did against Southampton.
Yeah, I mean, every game, I think he's getting better. He's obviously using his abilities, which is being tall, being strong, and it's working. So as of right now, yeah, you're right. He deserves his spot, and we, if anything, we should be happy about it because we have players that would sub in if he were to get injured or suspended. So I think we're good in the back.
Yeah, I think we are, and the fact that we've got that strength and depth there as well. He's just growing from strength to strength, isn't he, Anil, in terms of his positioning and how he's playing in the team.
Do you know what's really impressive though is his ability to swap the pace and stuff like that. That's clearly why he's in it, right? So he's got a really good brain and he'll speed it up, slow it down. I can tell he's starting to get confident. I wouldn't say cocky, but he's now waiting longer and longer for the opposing striker to come to him, which makes the move. I mean, another one I've got in my notes here is I felt today some of our playing out from the back was superb. It was so good. And even some of the players like Hamza Chowdhury, someone who a lot of people often said, I'm not really sure he can do it. But he did not make a single mistake playing out from the back. And there was like another time in the second half. So they put this guy, I can't pronounce his name. Was it Plaqueta or something like that? It was written Placheta, but he pronounced it a different way. But that guy, to be fair, he was a lot more direct than Jonathan Rowan, started running and like almost Harvey Barnes-esque. But he got past the man, Hams chased him down, got the ball back off him, then played a great back pass to Madsen Manson, who we're going to probably come on to. And then we just played it out, ping, 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 and started making moves. And it was like the whole team. So Vestergaard did that really, really well, I thought. He controls the pace of it. And yeah, everyone talks about Cody, but I mean, is Vestergaard in the team of the season for the championship? That might be a bit ridiculous, given that Preston North End have not lost a game and their defence is immaculate. But he's playing good. And some people might say, okay, well, he's found his level. But our level right now is the championship. And he's not put a foot wrong. And he's important. And he's starting our attacks. And, if Brendan Ball is just side to side passing, nothing happens. But the way that he does it is he draws them on and we start attacks that way. So you've got to give him some props, right? I mean, it's on the Leicester City bingo card for this season, Yannick Vestergaard redemption arc. And we're definitely seeing it.
He's been fantastic as well. And I think what's really impressive as well is before we've seen him get lost out of position where he's gone at times where people haven't covered him behind and they're running behind and there's one per game normally where Coventry there was one, Cardiff there was another one and they just missed their opportunities. Them chances are becoming less and less now. Vestergaard's understanding that position that he's playing a lot more.
Well, it's the system as well, though, I think, right? Because, like seeing Russell Martin's play, some of that was a bit similar to Brendan, I would say, in that they had a lot of possession, but what are they really doing with it? Right. So if you're just playing it side to side, then inevitably someone beats you for the ball and then there is all that space in behind. Like the way that we play now, that space is still there. That's not going away. That's still always a threat. If you can rob the ball off Leicester, play it behind Vestergaard. There's definitely that's how you would beat us. But the thing is we're not allowing that kind of thing because we move the ball nicely up through the channels and things like that. And we're just dealing with very well. And like if I had to compare this game as well, Norwich played it out from the back as well, and they even did some good passing, but their passing was slow. It was too methodical. Whereas with Leicester, if you count the amount of time when the ball goes to Vestergaard's feet and he decides to pull the trigger and it being in the other box, it's like 10 seconds.
Yeah. And it's not just that, it's also come through. I won't probably mention him. Hermansen was playing it's the best distribution I've seen in the game. I'm not saying he was bad before, but he was fantastic in this as well. And there was a lovely, I don't know if you noticed, Jeff, some of the time where the ball would come in and then within 1, 2, 3 passes, we're away. And Norwich played I think we have to give credit to Norwich, Jeff, because Norwich did play a good game. And considering they've not got the players, I think tactically on another day they could have come away with at least a point.
Yeah, for sure. The comparison between Norwich and Southampton on how they would press would be that Southampton was pressing consistently. I know Che Adams was like just running at Hermansen, but Norwich kind of held their ground when it came to us having possession in the back, and of course us not risking the passes. You know, we were okay with just passing back and forth and just staying in the back until Norwich gave us that space to move forward. So the level of calmness that we have at the back is superb.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just, and it's only going to get better. And I'd love to put it to Enzo. Go, what percentage are we at now? If we're at 20% before, I would love to see what percentage, because this is another one as well. Quite a
Neil,
few.
make it a beyond the 90 loading bar.
Yeah, exactly.
As a thumbnail, and each one you can tell me how far it's gone. Like, you know.
Yeah, I just want to put it to Enzo. Genuinely, I'm like, if we're 10%, what are we at now? Because I've got a feeling he won't say halfway. Genuinely, I think he said we're still early days in terms of that. But it's phenomenal. I think another couple of things to mention as well in terms of the way we play. I mean, we're just gonna have to move on to one of the main mans today. Somebody that will get forgotten about, who I think we'll talk about Hermansen a little bit later because there is a whole section. Harry Winks didn't put a foot wrong in this game, and it's something that I think you mentioned last time, Anil, but he did not do anything wrong. He didn't get pushed off the ball. He played the balls well. He's threading the passes left, right. He's putting the balls where he wants. It just amazes me that he's come down to the Championship, and again, he won't get the credit that I think he deserves. Chowdhury is probably another one, but I think Winks deserves his flowers as well.
Oh, you're mispronouncing his name. It's Iniesta. There isn't a player called Winks that plays for Leicester, I'm afraid. They do look a bit familiar. He does wear the 8 shirt as well, but that's it. Yeah, I agree. I mean, technically he got a yellow card, but even that, he does it in a deliberate tactical way, which I think is a good thing, right? He's basically the Man City Rodri stroke Fernandinho. And he's brilliant. He's the heartbeat of the team, you can tell. And yeah, I said jokingly last time round, he wears 8 on the back because he's 8 out of 10 every week. And if I had to rate him today, I would give him at least that. It might even be higher than that, but he's great, isn't he? Just really calm. He can turn on it, knows exactly what to do. I don't know about you. He's one of those that when we signed him, I wasn't that impressed, but man, I owe that guy an apology. He is a properly good player.
I was at the time. I was just surprised that both of them, him and Cody, would want to come to the Championship. Genuinely, I was just surprised. Like, fantastic, we're building something here. And even in the first half, Jeff, it came in terms of overall. We tried to play our ball. We tried to play the game we want to play, but Norwich were right up for it. And at times they were challenging us. They didn't really have. There wasn't really any massively clear-cut opportunities, but especially coming into 42 minutes. Both Duffy and Gibson were on yellow cards, and we were just going, right, I don't know, you think it's the same. This is something we need to capitalize on. I don't think we particularly did, but the fact that we're getting them on yellow cards and we've got the opportunity and making them a little bit scared, I think works in our favor.
Yeah, and just going off, like you guys said about the back line of Norwich, not pacey at all. We have the pace, and that's something that we took to our advantage, and they would get the yellow cards for it. I think surprisingly, I didn't expect us to have as much opportunity that we had against Southampton, against Norwich. I think we had maybe just a less than Southampton, but still we had clear opportunities to make even 2 goals with that miss by Navididi for that last play of the first half.
Yeah, exactly. And we are getting there. It's still, again, work in progress, which is ridiculous to think about as well, in terms of the way we are, because and then just coming into one of the bits, because it probably should have gone in 0-0 in terms of half time, but we managed to get 45 minutes, a clear penalty on Mavididi, and Ndidi Iheanacho stuck it away, I know. And just in terms of that, how do you think? There's been mixed opinion on the penalty. I thought it was a really good penalty, but some people think it was a bit of a poor penalty. At the end of the day, it goes in the back of the net. But what are your
Then
thoughts?
it's a good one, isn't it? That's what they always say. But I'll be honest, I don't think it was great. But thankfully, he scored because, you know, he missed that easy chance in the last game too. Nacho is a confidence player. All strikers are. It would be good to get him up and running. He is now. Hopefully, he takes that on with him in the next time he plays. But yeah, I think, you know, it's a funny one. We really riled them up, I think, that first half, and then both on the yellows. Great way to end the half again. At two halves, 2 games in a row that we've scored right at the end of half time, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's good confidence going into the first half. Second half, we didn't come out slow. It's something I want to mention because we started so slow in previous games. It was nice to know that. And then he made the double substitution. He put KDH and Ndidi on, Jeff, and it did make a difference, in my opinion. Not that Casadei was the end was all right, and then Atgun, I don't know if Jeff's there, and then Atgun changed that, but when them two came on, I'll hand it over to you, I know, because I don't know if
no worries. I do agree. Like, I think Casadei again, I'm not going to have a dig at him. It's a tough game for someone like him to sort of make his league full debut, I believe it was. What he was not doing is he wasn't pressing that much, and he was kind of losing the physical battle, I feel. So the immediate thing I noticed with both of those two is that they started pressing their defenders. Like Wilf, after like 6 seconds of being on, ran all the way forward, chased, I think it was Gibson, and then the ball into the keeper. And, you know, that means that the whole team can shift like 10 yards further up the field, which takes the pressure off us and gets us going there. So, and look, that is terrifying, right? We're already 1-0 up away from home, and you're seeing Wilfred and Didi and Kieran Dewsbury Hall come onto the pitch. You're known as a long evening when you're seeing that on. But as I say, I think the interesting thing is I expected when we did that is I thought, at that point, there's no way back for Norwich. Like, we're going to get full control of the game. And I don't think we got control of the game because they went to this 4-4-2 shape. Now, like I say, I'm not being critical of the team per se. I think, you know, if you ask Enzo what percentage he would feel, and maybe that's something that he's gone to think there, because they were going direct. They were taking a bit of a chance on like the second ball and things like that. It didn't always work out for them. And to be honest with you, I still think we made more chances than they did in that second half. But what I will say is that they did make chances. Whereas in the first half, I never really felt like they were looking like they would score. Whereas in that second half, I mean, one of them came from a mistake of ours, which was Mads giving the ball away, although, you know, it'd been some finish for you to put it away. But even then, they were, you know, there was that Onel Hernandez, header that he made a fantastic save from and things like that. So I think they were creating chances. But equally, I think we could have scored a couple on the breakaway too. So maybe that's just going to be a pattern that teams will push up on against us. But they definitely made a difference. And what I will say is I think KDH especially, in terms of the transition, we looked a way better team on that. It was going back to front so slickly. And, you know, I was a bit, you know, I listened back to our last, talk on this, and I was quite critical of KDH. And I shouldn't have been, because against Southampton, he was really good. This game, again, he was really good. Last 2 games, he's been way on it. And when he's in this form, like the statistics already showed that he's like in one of the top 2 or 3 midfielders in the division. But yeah, he was a class above when he came on. And I think him coming on, it was game over really at that point.
Yeah, it really was. And even though he played a small, the levels went up, and it's nothing against Castle. I think he's put it in here. Just put it quite slow and very noticeable the way we play. He's got a lot of talent, and I expect better in the future. I think that's where we're at the moment. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's just. I think he's the adapting, as you mentioned, the physicality. I think a couple of other things that you mentioned. He did tend to slow the ball down, not massively noticeably, but by about 20%, to the point where we couldn't play the exact slick football that we wanted to play as part of it as well. So it wasn't ideal as part of that. Just want to get a couple of comments in. Again, shout out to Mike. Again, Mike was on the last time as well. Make sure you go follow the Fellow Foxes podcast as well. Again, Mike, if you want a link, feel free to message me. I'll be able to send you over as well. And if you want to join in. But yeah, in terms of that, we didn't, again, as you mentioned, when the 4-4-2, we didn't quite handle it, but at the same time, we had a good grip of the ball. And I think 2 players that have, Vestergaard we mentioned as well, but the 2 other players I want to say, Doyle, I think, had a good game, and also Fast, I think, had an even better game, in my opinion. both of them, I think the back three, the reason why they didn't change it is because defensively we've looked a little bit shaky at times. That back three looks pretty solid now, Jeff, doesn't it? Especially with Fast and Doyle, it just looked like they're forming a good partnership.
Oh yeah, and Fast is too good for the championship. That's just a clear fact. You see he wins almost every single ball in the air. Same thing with Vestergaard. They're both strong, and any ball that comes in the air from either the opposition side, like you're kind of comfortable knowing that Fast will be there to win possession.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And the back three is just getting back. And it makes the point, where does Cody fit into this? He will come back into the squad eventually, but it's not like an attacking position where you can just substitute a defender in halfway through the game, especially as that main centre back role. It's pivotal for the way that Leicester play. So it's a golden problem to have. But again, I know coming into the Bristol City game, do you keep Vestergaard in, or would you change him for Cody?
Well, Cody hasn't played a single minute so far, so I think people are way jumping the gun. He'll be given like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Like, he's come back from a fairly serious injury. So I would expect him to be nursed in like that. Like, even look at Cesare Casadei, he came into the team, but he had like a few minutes, even when he scored the goal, got given a cup game to start with. I think one of the big reasons for making the changes is the physical condition is really important, so he can play the pressing game. So I think Maresca will be one of those that, even if Jeff is our best player, if Jeff has been playing 3 games, yeah, Jeff's nodding because he knows that's correct. We know it's correct as well. If Jeff's played 3 of the last 4 games and his physical condition is like 90%, he'll rest him. Not because he's not a good player, but it's because he needs to see the team. Like you said, fast starts. We're starting the game fast. We're starting the second half fast. Physical condition plays a huge part of that. So I think he will make changes for that reason. There will sometimes be tactical ones. I just want to touch on Wout Fast again quickly, because I feel that he replaced JJ because they played Ashley Barnes. And again, Ashley Barnes is this physical type of player. And I've personally observed that Fast tends to play better against those kind of bruiser types who are a bit slower. Like he was quite good against Harry Kane, for example, Wout Fast, but he would struggle against more the faster, more mobile ones. And I saw early on in the first half, there was a bit where he was like on Ashley Barnes and the ball goes back with Norwich. They're recycling play and Ashley Barnes is like on his own 20-yard spot and Wout Fast was still next to him, almost man-marking him. So they were definitely looking out for that. And I think he has, like I said about the physical battle, he's picked the right player against the right person at the right time. So yeah, coming back to Cody, no, I think if he comes on for 10 or 15 minutes just to get his fitness up. He probably starts maybe the cup game. He is obviously from Liverpool as well. That might make sense. And he'll be, let's not rush him back. Do you know the great thing about this season compared to previous seasons where we've rushed back Wilfred and Didi or Ricardo Pereira and they've got injuries again, is we don't need to. Just like, same like, if Casadei doesn't have the best game or Yunus hasn't quite hit the height, no worries. Just ease them in, right? They don't have to hit the ground running. Let's take our time, get them comfortable with the system, and they'll make an impact when they're good. I mean, I'm still quite impressed with Fatawu, to be honest with you, every time he comes on. And he's unlucky that he's not getting a start. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the time he finally is given the start, he's so gagging to play that he absolutely destroys a fullback or something like that. So, I just think Enzo understands it, right? He says, I need 20 players. It's a squad game. There's a game every 3, 4, 5 days. It's quite refreshing in some ways, to be honest with you. And it's keeping the performance levels. And, if you average 2 points a game in this division, that's going to give you 92 points. That's promotion. So that's it. Just do that. Every time we got to a game, divide the amount of games we've played, did we get 2 points? If we're ahead of that target, HMS piss the league.
Well, you're saying that, but at the moment, there's 3 teams that are in really good form. Obviously, ourselves, Preston North End, unbeaten,
fair play to them. Yeah, fair play.
Ipswich absolutely smashing it with McKennie, who I've heard from people we actually interviewed for the Leicester job as well. So
5-point gap already, isn't that crazy?
After 7 games, move on to 5-point gap to Sunderland. Jeff, already we're moving. I can't believe the 3 of us. We're moving away from the pack, and the pack is in 4th place.
Yeah, that's good. That's the goal. That's for us to get us the top positions. And surprisingly, Preston North End have not lost. Sunderland actually 4th place too. That's kind of surprising as well. They didn't start off too well, I believe.
They were playoffs last year, though. No, honestly, they're a good team. they've got a Bellingham in their team as well, so watch out for them. Yeah.
But no, certainly Norwich. Before this match, I thought Norwich was going to be a team that would dominate most of the match playing home. But clearly, against us, it was a different outcome. And I just got to see now, on game day when we play Ipswich, when we play Preston, how that will be. We can't really look. I can't look too much at their previous matches until they play us. And clearly, what we saw today against Norwich is that when they play us, we find a way, and we found their 2 goals and we got 3 points.
Yeah. Exactly. And just looking at, I was noting Southampton on there. They've dropped down from, again, top 6 position right the way down to, again, it's only 10 points. So a couple of points a win would put them back up in the top spot, ideally. But it shows you how tough things are at the moment. Again, it's great to see. And I think one thing I wanted to, we touched on the majority of players. I want to touch on Fatawa in a second, but we've gone long enough throughout this podcast without talking about this man. Hermansen today. I noticed him in the first half, and I just went, again, he's got his award, again, player of the match. Absolutely unbelievable today. The first half, I was really impressed with his passing out from the back. His distribution at times to just give the ball over to people that you go, yeah, you want a ball? Here you go. You want a ball? Here you go. He just looked like it was completely effortless. And in the second half, he came alive with some of his saves. I mean, I know he was just unbelievable today.
Well, if you remember, we did pre-season when I did a big up on this guy, right? Saying I thought he was going to transform the way that we played. So thankfully, he hasn't been a bust. That's the most important thing I'm thankful for. But he was so good. Like in my notes, I'm mentioning him maybe 3-4 times. Like honestly, he's like Ederson, the Ederson of the championship. Like what he's offering. Like okay, so I think even maybe something we haven't even talked about is that he is used sometimes of his longer range distribution. So we go for this move where he actually plays it between the lines to Kelechi or Vardy. Do you remember Kelechi then tries like he tried the back heel spin and turn to take his defender out of the game and go back to front and play in one of the 8. And he pulled off that move once. The second time it didn't quite come off. But that's all because the keeper can play that beautiful first time with his feet ball. Like we love Kasper, one of the best players we've ever had at the club, but he was not good at doing that. Right. And this guy can do this consistently during the game multiple times. So there's that. He is positionally good. Like he comes up. So a lot of analysis over the weekend, I don't know if you've seen, have been fawning over Brighton quite rightly because, Roberto De Zerbi's playing good stuff and they use Jason Steele as this kind of pseudo third centre back. And we do the same thing as well. If you look at his average pitch position, Mads Hermansen, he's not even in goal. It's like, it's like crazy. You would think Leicester cheating. They appear to be having like an extra centre back on the pitch. So there's that part of it too. But also some other things on corners. He claims the ball. He doesn't just punch it out. Kasper tended to punch it a few times. Mads will generally grab hold of it, look to distribute it quickly. He did some really good shot stopping there. One black mark. Yeah, so look at his position there, right? That's not in the, he's keeping up. He's like that, like in FIFA where you drop the ball as a keeper and you try and dribble around everyone and score a goal. I mean, he's not quite that, but at the same time, by the way, can I just say that is a very sexy looking average pitch position. If you're a coach, and that probably says a lot about me that I can get excited by this, but that is pretty impressive because you can see like the symmetry. You can see some of the things that we try in the way that we do and things like that. It shows you how aggressive Mavididi was, I suppose, there as well, right, against this man compared to the other players. Also, look how much more advanced Yunus was compared to Cassidy. And to be honest with you, perhaps that says about why we thought the move was breaking down, whereas the other one didn't, sort of thing, right? So, I mean, please, let's have Jeff's take on Mads as well. But €6 million, is it? That is
for that's 23 years old.
I personally think we're looking at a £50 million player here. Maybe I'm jumping the gun, but I just hope we keep him. He's well good.
Yeah, Jeff, you got any thoughts on Hermansen today?
I mean, all we know is that he loves playing with the ball at his feet, and based on our previous keepers, that was something we couldn't do, but now we can, and it just brings us more security in the back. He can definitely pass the ball from the ground. Find either the left back, right wing, left wing, something that Everson Ward couldn't have done. If Everson tried to do that, it would go out. And there's just debate on Twitter going about, is Emerson a Premier League goalkeeper? I don't think so at the moment, but I think, the way it's going on now, it's till the end of the season, he probably will be, at the end. So it's just a progression, and it's great to have him part of this squad.
Yeah, and also think about the rest of the season. Enzo's going to spend more time with him. He's going to understand the system more, and he's going to get better at this as well, which is scary, genuinely scary. If we come up, I'm really excited for it as well. And I think some of the time it was when they switched to the 4-4-2 and they bought on again. They brought James Justin on for Chowdhury, I think part of injury, and also just kind of give him some time in the legs. I'm quite glad they gave Ricardo a break as well. I'm personally quite glad they didn't bring him off the bench. Mavididi, they put Fatau on, and I know they put him on the left-hand side, which I was really surprised at, because I've interviewed a Ghanaian journalist who was mentioning if you put him on the left, you take away his biggest asset, which is his left foot. Which I was like, oh, why have we done that for? I thought they would swap Mavididi, they would swap McAteer and Fatau, but he was still impressive on that left-hand side, which again is scary considering that's, again, while I was interviewing the journalist, he was saying, if you don't do that, because you'll take away his biggest position.
Yeah, we didn't see him on for long, but he certainly affected the game. He did a really nice cross that Casey McAteer should have scored before he got his second goal. He's also good at running at his man. Perhaps it wasn't so important to shoot this time round. I think, though, just before coming on to Fatau, there's a reason why Casey McAteer has stayed out on that side, because the guy is unbelievable. Another goal, but it's not just his goal. In the first half, I thought he was our best player. He's running everywhere. He made chances for himself. Really good football intelligence. He seems to make the right decision all the time. In my opinion, I think that is why, because even Brendan Rodgers liked him as well. I think that's what they recognise him. Some players can have all the physical talent in the world. Adama Traore is always the example for this, right? But they make the wrong decision. And so despite them being really fast, good dribblers, technical, they mess it up. Casey McAteer is almost like the opposite. Sometimes his first touch isn't the best. I don't think he's the type of player that's going to beat 3 or 4 players and then smash it top bins, whereas Fatau, I think, could do something like that. But he does not make any bad decisions. He gets us into the right place at the right time. His work ethic is there. So he's basically made that position his own. It says it a lot that we had the 2 players that were brought in to play on that wing during the summer, Yunus Akgun and Abdul Fatau. Neither of them played in that position in that game, and both of them either started or came on. But coming on to Fatau, I still think there's a very talented player there. I'll be quite interested if we sign him or not, because I think in terms of the ceiling for a player, it looks very high to me. Maybe it's just the eye test, but I see a player that looks fast, he looks physical, he looks strong, he has a good work ethic, very powerful foot.
He's explosive.
That is a great word for it. Thank you, Neil. Yes, that's exactly that, which Casey McAteer doesn't have. And players that have that ability to go kind of 0 to 60 in a split second, they're the ones that really go high in the footballing world, because you can't defend against it, right? It doesn't matter how good you are. So I'm excited to see when he gets his first start, but his cameo appearances have been encouraging. And I think that you can tell already that Mertz is teaching them system, just slowly, surely, and he will get there. How he hasn't got an assist is only because people haven't been able to finish. He's put it on the plate,
Yeah, exactly. The pass over the top,
Yeah.
exactly. The pass over the top. And there was the way he hung up the ball before McAteer got his goal. I was like, that should be 2-0. That should be 2-0.
Yeah.
And I think you could see there was that time, and I think there was an opportunity for Mavididi in the first half where he missed it, and you could see he was fuming at himself, which is, for me, I want to see. I want to see a player that's like, I should have put this away. Instead of going, oh, well, I'll try another one. And McAteer was kind of similar before he took his goal as well. And then again, Tyler put in as well. It's unreal how good McAteer is, considering, again, he was only worthy of a League Two loan. So again, he's been performing in pre-season, but we've seen so many players that perform in pre-season, then get loaned out, then don't come into the squad. The fact that I think, we were mentioning last time, the top scorers, him and Ndidi's our second top scorer, which is absolutely insane.
With Casey, though, I think we've got to be one bit of criticism of Casey McAteer is that chicken dance celebration. That needs a lot of work. I mean, if I had to rate that out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10 at best, he's got to give it more of the arms, a bit more of the back and forth. So if that's going to be his thing, I want to see a bit of improvement there, Casey, if you're watching.
Do you know what? I was actually seeing a couple of Argentinian fans was like, it's like Tevez. Tevez is the same thing, and I was like, okay, sure. But they were getting carried away for that. So yep. So get really excited with the way that won as well. But I think before we finish, we've got to talk about the goal, Jeff. The second goal to seal off the game. It was a beautiful counter-attacking goal, which shows again the team can play, even though it's one formation, there's multiple ways of playing. And the way we played from Vardy to KDH to McAteer, to Vardy to KDH to then to just put it on a plate for McAteer, we just it was effortless, and it was but such a beautifully worked goal.
Yeah, and just a beautiful turn from KDH. I thought it was offside at first. I was already screaming at the TV. I was like, Kieran, you idiot! Like, why'd you pass it to McAteer? But no, he was onside, and yeah, just the way to, these players have been able to find these open spaces or create these open spaces for themselves, and everyone's just adapting to that system. Everyone's finding the open spaces. They're passing. They're not risking any risky passes. They're all playing accordingly to the way Maresca wants them to play. And yeah, these past few goals from today and against Southampton were all beautifully placed and set up. So yeah, amazing.
Yeah, really good way to work as well. Just get a few comments in as well. Chris is in again. Make sure you go and check out again Leicester Die TV, fantastic channel again. I've on there recently as well. So again, make sure you check that one out. Again, playing football the ends way. Literally, it's just beautiful to watch, and it's something that I've said to I think when I met a few Newcastle fans last year. I've just enjoy not being crap, and that's kind of we're in that position now where we just enjoy. Breathe it in, bask in it, because it's been so bad for last year and even parts of the year before as well. Just enjoy the good football we're playing, and it's only going to get better from here, which is crazy as well. And then I think to finally to round it off, I think that's pretty much everything. Is there anything else that anybody has to cover? Because I think I've tried to cover everything, and it was just a good overall dominant performance against a good side that, in my opinion, will be vying for that top for the playoff position, because they look like a good team. So if they keep that up, I think they're getting playoffs.
A lot of people said that these last two games would really show us where Leicester are at. If you could just bring up that table again, I think that will show you exactly where we're at as a team. So we've just gone away to two of the supposed best teams in the division. These two teams, prior to this round of games, had scored the most goals. And the aggregate score is 5-1 to Leicester, beating them both. No, 6-1 to Leicester. Learn how to count, Anil. And we've dispatched them both. Second place in the table. It's looking good. So really impressive. Yeah, and as per Jeff's point, it's like the counter-attack. I think the style of play is that we're becoming a great back-to-front team. It's really exciting to see. That's, I think, right now in modern football, the very best teams, I'm talking about the elite teams, they are capable of doing that. So I don't want to get too excited, but I guess what I'm thinking is if we can get back to the Premier League, we might be in good stead if we get there. But, well, let's calm it down. Let's calm it down.
We're creating the gap. We're creating the gap at the moment. But again, I really want to see what we do against, I think Sean's put in as well, against Ipswich, against Preston, because they're playing such attacking football and kind of and they're top as well. I really want to see what we can do there. But overall, I'm just so excited with the way that this is going. And he made 5 substitutions, didn't really change too much, then put them back on. Then the team stepped up again, and it's players that are only going to get better, Jeff. And the team in general is just gelling, and it's just progressing every time.
Yeah, and like you said, we're not there yet. The full Maresca, type of football, but certainly I think this game definitely does give us some relief to rest players for next match against Bristol. And I think that Fatu will get a start this weekend. That's what I think he'll do. I think he'll rest McAteer. I think McAteer's played 2 games in less than 4 days, so certainly
he looked kind of gassed, don't you think, at the end?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think
90 minutes for this one, and if it's 60 minutes for the last one, Mavididi stayed on for longer, so they're getting rotation again. I'd love to see against a slower defense. I think somebody put that as well. Fatal might be actually stupid as well. Just before we finish up, I just want to say again, shout out to Luke as well from Leicester City. Down at 6 a.m. on a Wednesday, mate. That's unbelievable. You're doing that. shout out to you, because I know you get up early in the morning to do that as well. A couple of other players, obviously Leicester Till I Die, make sure you go and check them out. Chris and Brad over there do a fantastic job. Fellow Foxes, so again, make sure you go and check out, again, I'm just listing all the podcasters off here, but again, everybody that jumped into the chat, really appreciate them. But yeah, final words before we finish, Anil.
I think you should title this video, "We've Got Our Leicester Back," because that's what it feels like.
It. Yeah, I can't really argue with that as well. So I'll try and get a good thumbnail. But yeah, if there won't be any post-match for this one, unfortunately. For the next game, I'm away, so we'll come back for hopefully a preview for the Liverpool game, because that game's going to be juicy as well, and we'll see where we'd improve from the time that we played them in pre-season. Obviously, they've improved as well to this time. Speaking to Liverpool fans, they aren't, speaking of like reasonable ones, they aren't too happy with the way that they started the game against Wolves, and there is room for improvement, and Klopp isn't doing the things that we know him to do. So it could be an upset. I know some people want to just continue on but again, it's an opportunity to see where we've come from in the last 3 months or so. Really looking forward to. Again, make sure you go and check out Anil again. Again, over here in the description. Jeff, again, I'll leave your stuff in the title. Like and subscribe, everybody, and we'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.